and go through how to log into Schoolwide Fundamentals Unlimited and how to curate some resources from there. So the web address is fundamentals.schoolwide.com. Everyone's username is set to their Monroe email address. And the password would have been created by you. If you've never logged in or you can't remember your password, just click forget password and you'll be sent an email link to reset it, and then you can log in. So let's get started. So this is everyone's dashboard, and it can look a little bit overwhelming. What you're seeing right here is the teaching resources. If you click this top drop-down menu, you will see that there are 4 separate teaching resources is the first one, and then we have texts, assessments, and units. So I'm going to start with teaching resources. So what it will default to is your featured, but you can filter by each strand of the standards. So you have reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So I'm going to select reading. And these are all of the resources associated with reading out of all of the K-8 units of study. You can see there's over 5,000 of them. That's incredibly overwhelming, so we want to filter that down. So if you can see where I just clicked in the top right, this is a filter button, and you can filter by the strand, you can filter by the grade level, by a specific standard, skills and strategies, the type of resource you're looking for, or if you're in a specific unit of study. 2 of the ones that I most typically filter by are grade level and resource type. So let's take a look there. So I'm going to go into grade 2, and I want to take a look at some anchor charts because I want to be able to push out an anchor chart to some of my students. So let's take a look and see what we have there. So we've got different anchor charts. Some of them are actual pictures that we can push out, for example. The plot of a story. If I wanted to push this out to students, what I can do is I could take a screenshot of this. I can go back in here and I can add this to my library so that I save that as well. Okay. If you wanted to filter by a specific unit of study, you can click here, and these are all the types of units of study that we have. There are some that have links to science and social studies. You have poetry, narrative, nonfiction, and you can sort that way as well. This is an incredible way to get various resource types. If you take a look at the different resources, so just before I sorted at anchor charts, but you can sort by mini lessons. You can take a look at graphic organizers that you can push out to your students. There are interactive read aloud lessons. If you wanted to record doing an interactive read aloud, let's say we wanted an interactive read aloud and I wanted to focus on poetry. It's just taking a second. So a pair of poems. So when you click on this interactive read aloud, you see 4 options up top. You see the summary, the preparation. You can see this in here. The actual lesson, so what you're going to do before the reading, during the reading. And this is pretty scripted so that you could print this out. You could have this side by side. So if you wanted to create a video or anything like that, you would have the ability to do that. So these are some of the teaching resources that are available. I encourage you to play around with them to see what's there that would be beneficial to you. Next, if we go back to the top left, we can click text. There's about 1,300 texts in here, but that's across 9 different grade levels. So again, we want to filter down. So if I wanted to do a read aloud for second grade, I wanted to pick something that was kind of at the higher end of that second grade band level. I can open this up. I can open it up in one of two places. I could open it up in the PDF, or I could open it up in the e-reader. If I open the PDF, I have the ability to download this, and I could push this out to students as a leveled read. Another way that you can use this, you could use it as a read aloud, record yourself doing a read aloud and think aloud. You could also use this for a running record. So if you were to set up appointments with your students and you wanted to monitor how they were reading, you can send this to the student, set up an appointment time, and do a running record with these books. It's another option. Back out of here again. So these are the texts, different ways that you can sort. You can sort like I just did with the guided reading level. You can sort with Lexile level. You can sort by language. So there is English and Spanish for those of you who have Spanish L's in your class. You can look at the different purposes here. You can look at genre, theme, and topic as well. So that's texts. The third drop down is going to be assessments. Many of you have questions about how to assess students in this crazy new remote learning environment. And this is one of the ways that you can access different assessments that can be pushed out. There are different rubrics in here. There are some that are multiple choice that you could kind of convert into a Google form. There are running records in here. There are reflection activities. There are self-assessments in here. As I said, plenty of rubrics and things like that. And again, in the assessments tab, you can sort, reading, writing, speaking and listening. And then you could sort by grade level, standards, skills and strategies, the type of assessment that you wanted. So there's conferring templates, there's reading benchmark assessments, there's different formative assessments. Those ebooks that I had just showed you, there's unit quizzes on those ebooks. There's a bunch of different things in here as well. And again, that's the assessments. And the last one is the units. So particularly in grade 4 and grade 5, there are references to the school-wide units of studies in here, but you can look to specific units that may align with some of the units you are doing for different strands. So again, you have the reading, writing, and then there are the grammar pieces. So if you were pushing out some writing to students and there was some things that you wanted to take a look at, you can you can push out these lessons here. The lesson title is going to be on the left, and then the type of lesson that you're going to have is in the middle here. And then you can click one. So this is a mini lesson on capitalization. As I had showed you before, you have the summary, what this is. So this is in editing. The preparation, so these are the materials that you'll need, but they're all linked here. And then the lesson and what students do. And then if you go back to the preparation tab, you can see there's even, there's a practice for students to be able to do prior to them going into their own writing, if you wanted to have them practice in that way. So again, incredible resources in here. It can be a little bit overwhelming. The last thing that I wanted to show you down here was my library. Anything that you click the green arrow on. So we're always going to go into the browse to try to find things. So for example, if I wanted to go back to a particular assessment, I have a running record, first grade. This green arrow here, and you'll see it in different resources when you open them up, in different places. You'll see it up here. By clicking that green arrow, it's going to give you the option to add it to your library. So you can go through and curate a whole bunch of things that you think will be beneficial, add them to your digital library, and then when you're ready to use them, they'll be good to go by looking at that library here. Okay, if you have any questions about fundamentals, please feel free to reach out to me. You can email me. This tutorial hopefully showed you a few things. If you have any trouble logging in, you can reach out to me or to Eric Silverman and we'll make sure that we get you set up. Thank you so much and good luck.